Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Off-Szn Hoops off-season preview. Today, we're going to be talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, jump right off with it. Congratulations, Anthony Edwards, getting the bag, 5-year, $260 with some exceptions. That's all of them. All the max contracts, especially the rookie scale max. But anyways, congratulations to Anthony Edwards. Absolutely deserved that shit. Was the sole reason that they were even looking like a competent team against the Denver Nuggets last playoffs. Did what he did the playoffs before that. Continues to be just a super electric, exciting, fun player to watch. Can give you a 40-piece when he feels like it. And that's not to say that like he's not trying or anything. It's just sometimes he doesn't need to give you a 40-piece. But if you really tick him off, he might fuck you up. But you also went and re-signed Naz Reid, player I really, really enjoy, for 3 years, 42. The 2025-2026 offseason is a player option. So good job, Naz, grabbing that contract from Minnesota. He's the first one off the bench, in my opinion. And, you made some moves as well that really helped you question that first man off the bench as you went and signed Shake Milton, 2-year, $10 million, Karl-Alexander Walker, 2-year, $9 million, and Troy Brown Jr. for 2-year, $8 million. And now I think, obviously, Naz is probably still going to be the first off the bench. It's a big, and it's Rudy. So, yeah. But you signed Shake Milton, which I think is great, brings some off-the-bench shooting and, consistency and ball handling that I think, just wasn't there before. And then, Nickeil Alexander-Walker with his defense and three-point shooting we saw in the playoffs last year, but also just throughout the season. He's just a really, really solid overall, secondary ball handler and more like a tertiary ball handler. And really, really good defender. And then Troy Brown Jr., obviously, just a really solid defender, off ball, good shooter-ish. And then, you still have this core of, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, who but Jaden McDaniels, who probably is going to be getting a bag sooner rather than later. Karl-Anthony Towns, who apparently they are talking about shipping, and Rudy Gobert, who, is there. And, you have Mike Conley now as your guy. And I think, he showed you that he can still do it. I'd be curious to see what it looks like without having, a third guard on the roster. I would like to have a third guard on the roster if I was in Minnesota. You only have 13 players technically on the roster, so you still have time. But I'd just be curious to see because, given his age, given Mike Conley's age, I just, it'd be nice, it'd be comforting to have a third guy back there just in case, knock on wood. But you also went and you drafted Leonard Miller and Jalen Clark. Leonard Miller out of Ignite. But yeah, Minnesota, it's been real. It's been fun, but it ain't been real fun because, to be honest with you, I think you guys capped out your ceiling as soon as you traded for Rudy Gobert. You just did. It's going to take some drastic maneuvering and finagling to get out of that and try to, move back into the right direction. I think you're gonna end up being a perennial first-round exit team, possibly playing with, the way things are now. Perennial play-in team, which is not a title you want. It's not a title you want. And especially, for Anthony Edwards' sake, having him, for the next 5 fucking years. I would like to see Anthony Edwards on a genuinely competitive Minnesota team. And I think a lot of that starts with, making the decision between, Rudy and Cat, which obviously it's like no one really wants Rudy Gobert, but you got to figure something out. Whether it's, making a drastic fucking change and trading Cat, or something. It's got to be something. It's got to be something because this team does not do enough. It's not enough. It just isn't. And it probably won't be if this is what the team wants to be for the next 3 years. If it stays like this, the same roster, same guys, basically, mix and match some role players. 3 years from now, I still don't say that this is a championship level team. I don't think that's a hot take. They're a really solid team. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Anthony Edwards. I love those, step backs and the pullback and the posterizers. I love all of it. I love Jaden McDaniels. He out of high school was one of my favorite prospects. He showed a lot more offensive promise than I think he's been allowed to. I think, outside of playmaking, he has a lot to show on the offensive end. And then I think, Naz Reid, one of the most underrated offensive centers in the game right now. I think a lot of that has to do with him being off the bench and being behind Rudy and Karl-Anthony Towns. I think he has so much talent on that side of the ball. It also has to do with his defense that does hold him back. But it is what it is. Next to Rudy Gobert, maybe it's different. But, Cat is also a fun player. Shouts out Jordan McLaughlin. I don't hate this team. I just don't think that the way it is now, without a drastic change, is going to ever be competitive.